Hey guys, this is Bob, and I'm going to give hopefully a pretty quick run through of the League Companion tool. I've been trying to get this thing together so that I can kind of go through all the features real quick, so all the questions can be answered in one space. But I keep finding bugs every time I go through this video that I feel like I need to fix. So I think we're in a good spot now, and I guess we'll get it going. First thing, I hand out logins to everyone. If you're in SHA and you don't have a login, so like a username and password, just let me know and you will get one. Basically, I create the logins for everyone. I assign you a team and generate the password. So yeah, just hit me up in Discord and you will get that. So I'm going to use a test account. So here we go. It's Babo. And then there we go. So you're just going to log in first. And here we are. I already had some search criteria going, so I'm going to clear it. But when you come in the first time, it's going to look something like this. This is just showing the top players in the league. The default is just to show the first 100 players sorted by com ranking. And as you can see, it's basically the best players in the database are here at the top. That's just the default setting. You can use a whole bunch of filtering criteria here to filter out these lists, especially like name. You can find the player you're looking for by name pretty quickly, and the sort conditions are over here. So if you want to sort by combined ranking, technicals, mental, physical, attribute growth is a big one, and then age over, you can do all that. So the ones that are a little different that don't really map to anything in EHM is attributes growth, and that's this column right here, grow. You're basically going to get the most attributes grown in the last snapshot of the database. So I'll click on a player here. So this guy, Pierrick Koch, he grew a lot. He's not very good, but yeah, he had some nice growth. We do snapshots 3 times a year or season, and actually a year. So it's the start of the season, TDL, and then the end of the season, and then it repeats. So we've got a few seasons here. We started a new one recently. And these growth arrows here basically represent how much growth the player's seen between the previous snapshot and the current one you're at. You can actually jump through snapshots here in this view, and you'll see what he looked like. And, you know, go really early. He was pretty awful up till now. So that's really one of the main features of this tool is it creates a history on player growth and charts everything here. You even get a radar chart that'll show you the shape of the player. He obviously has some pretty serious deficiencies. Pretty bad passer and doesn't know how to play defense, and actually really doesn't know how to do much. So you can get a quick at a glance look. I have some weighted scores here. I don't have the algorithms for all these, but I'll surface them at some point. It's just some criteria I use to give guys an offensive score, and we score it by combined everything, which would be a score for technical, mental, and physical, and then we do individuals for the columns here, technical, mental, and individual scores. So you know, at a glance, usually like I'll look at the physical. If it's really low, I'll know the guy's like slow or something, and probably not worth pursuing. if his physical score is really low, and you'll see where that surfaces where it's kind of useful. On this view, it's not as important, but these are just values that I came up with. So going back to search, there's a lot of color coding here. It generally maps with what's in EHM, but in SHA we have a blue tier, so that's that bright green color for the default EHM. So numbers that are at the top range will be blue. a high range will be green, mid range will be orange, and then low range will be red. But you also see these purples sprinkled in here. And obviously, there's a lot of these growth. Wow, some of these guys really grew a lot. um, Normally, the growth or the pink color here is for very rare circumstances. In this database, and I guess with 1.5, there's a lot more growth than previously. So what used to be like 5 players hitting this tier, it's now like a whole page full. So I don't know. I might have to adjust these tolerances. But yeah, so anything pink represents somewhat of a rare occurrence. So that's usually a good thing. So that's search. Search it happens in real time, so you can use sliders and filter this way, and it just happens in real time, and you can filter by your team. So mine's Columbus, and yeah, so there's my team. We'll just get the sliders out so you can see it. Now, one thing to understand is the way EHM Assistant, is that it? Yeah, exports. It doesn't associate your contract or your like, I don't know, your signed prospects that aren't in the AHL. It's only going to show them here, so you have to have like another list somewhere. And this is showing some of my I got to do Columbus Blue Jackets, and then I'll get my whole team. There we go. Yeah, so that's just one quirk with the way the importing and exporting goes. So what I normally do is create a list for those players. So if you go over here to like personal lists, you can create your own lists, and these are just a few I created with this test account. And one of the things you can have is the rest, like a prospect list. Now this is for something else, but you can have all of your other players in here and track this way, so you don't have to go searching for them every time. So I usually, my main account, I have a lot of lists that'll keep my current prospect pool up to date, and I can just reference them here. Yeah, so I'm just going to get into this list feature because this is probably the most complicated stuff. You can create a list of any player, any sequence of players that you want. In this case, I was looking at the draft and went through and found some guys that were not drafted, and these 3 guys in particular, and they're most likely going to be, because of their age, they're going to be overagers for the next draft. So I want to keep track of them because they actually look pretty good. They have some good numbers, like their age over, which is ComScore, which is all the attributes added up divided by the guy's age. This is a really good value to test in or to use for scouting for young players that you're going to potentially draft. It's going to favor 17-year-olds over 18-year-olds and 18-year-olds over 19-year-olds. So when you filter a draft or you're looking through players, if you filter by age over, the 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds are going to drop down. They'll have less weight in the draft, basically. So I think that would be favorable to most people who are going through the draft, and they might not want to filter out entirely the 19 and 20-year-olds, but just have them carry less weight and give those 17-year-olds a bump up. So this is one list here. I call it my overager prospects. I'm actually gonna delete these really quick because these are not. We'll recreate them here. So we'll get back to this. You can do a whole bunch of different types of personal lists, and you just do a create list up here. And but we're actually going to create a list a different way. So if you go to rankings, we've got a number of options here. We've got the ISS rankings for each year that the league has been in existence, so 2021 and 2022. And we have something called COM rankings. These are the 2 ranking bodies I support in here, and COM rankings is effectively just ISS rankings sorted by ComScore. And it creates a different enough list to justify having it as a different ranking body. Now, this list is not going to include, unranked guys. Basically, guys not in the ISS. It's just a sorted ISS list. You can create your own and stuff, but it's just too much effort to go through and figure out what players are eligible and throw them into a different ranking body. So anyway, that's what that is. So if you want to copy, like let's say we want to copy the ISS rankings and create our own draft list out of it, you just select it here and you can do this clone list to new personal list. And then we're going to give it a name. We're going to call it, we'll call it draft list. We'll just give it the same description. And then submit that. And it created it. So we go down here, our personal list, and here it is, draft list. And this list right here represents the entire ISS 200. And it's pretty cool because you can use this ultimately for your draft list with little effort. So first thing we can do is let's sort by age over. Now you'll notice all the guys, well, not all of them, but a bunch of them turn purple. The vast majority of them are going to turn purple. It's because their rank and order changed in here. Whenever their order changes, it means their rank is different. And you have to be able to set this. Now, I have a little bit of a bug here, and I got to fix this. You have to be able to set the rank once you change the order. The only way it triggers right now is if you do an operation like this, like a drag and drop. See, it says set ranks. You're going to need to hit that. And then when they all turn this bluish green, we know it's set. They're good. We'll move this guy back up because we had to switch him. Oh, I see. This is such a fucking pain in the ass. All right. Well, anyway, we're going to leave it that way. I got to fix that. But in general, it works. Expect that to be fixed. Set ranks is basically just saving your changes. So we're going to need to get that sorted out. So this list now is a pretty good one. So we can go in here and start moving some guys around. We'll put Shane Wright up at the top, and let's do like John Graham would have been at the top of my list. These two guys are pretty awesome. Jonas Stromberg, that's definitely going above him. And Lambert, that's a guy I picked. Probably put him over Stromberg. And I don't know. Let's say we like that. We're going to set it. They're going to turn that bluish green. And let's say we want to delete a few guys. I don't know. This is a big list, but you can delete it in the export. So we do export. It's going to create it here. And now here's the list. And if it's just too big, you can just go in here and just kill them up to where, it's not overwhelming. There, you can submit that list. And now you actually got some killer guys. I'm going to create some more features to sort through and filter out guys that you might not want, like perhaps a minimum maximum speed kind of thing. So like, or maybe a minimum maximum physicals. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But for now, you're gonna have to do a little bit of management, but it's not too hard. If you want to get a guy, like let's say you find a killer guy down here, like let's say this guy, and you want to get him close to the top, we can just say, let's move him to the 10th position. And then that moved, and all these guys, they turned purple because their position changed. And now you'll notice at 10th is this John Luke Green guy. And just make sure you set that. And then boom, you're good. So now we set at 10. And you can very quickly build quality list like this. So moving along, if we go back to rankings, we have these ISS and ComScores. When I create these, I can basically imprint them on the player, and these will for each draft that you're involved in, um, and you can get multiple ComScore and ISIS rankings if you're not selected in one draft and you show up in another. But they get branded on a player, so you should be able to see this information throughout the tool when they were drafted and what their ISS rank was. Now, if they were in 2 or 3 drafts, the last one they are in is the one that's going to be imprinted, their ISS rank. So just keep that in common. Same thing with ComScore ranking. So that's what those are. One thing you might have noticed is if you go through, let's go through these ISS rankings. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the list. We're going to start seeing some of these guys have a dashed border right here, like this James Lowney. The reason it's dashed is because he was never drafted. See, it says undrafted. Undrafted guys have a dash border. Drafted guys have a solid. So when the list is getting updated during the draft, you're going to see players just go solid, and it's a pretty good indicator of who's still available. And I'm going to create some filters and stuff eventually that you'll be able to filter out drafted guys or undrafted. You know, you can go either way. But as the draft is going through, it's nice to follow this list and see which guys are still available, and start sorting by whatever criteria you want with those guys. So that's what that is. I also, every season, I'm going to do an achievement list, and in the one I've done so far is like the top 25 players in the league. I thought this would be kind of cool. So every year, I'm going to take at the end of the season when the final game is played, I'm going to go to the game and basically, sort by the top 25, or I'm going to go to the last snapshot of the year, the end snapshot. Once that's in, I'm going to take the top 25 guys by ComScore and just create a list of them here. So this is the top 25 guys in the league. And the cool thing is, if you look at Nathan McKinnon, you'll see he's a part of this list right here, and that he was number 1 in 2022. And you can actually follow the history of him and how many years he makes it into the top 25, and that number might change over time. So you can see how long he held that title, basically. So that's that one. I don't know if people can think of interesting things that's not too much micromanagement. We can add more. So the next thing is the draft. We have 2 drafts, like I said earlier. We'll go to the 2022. This is the 2022 draft as it was inputted on the spreadsheet. I know a couple picks are different than what happened in the actual draft because I actually did not get a player because for whatever reason I didn't have that pick available, even though I think I should have had it. But it's not a big deal. At the very end, some of these picks might be slightly off, but in general, it's going to be more accurate than the game itself. And you're going to see the team that drafted the player and their ISS rank, which is nice. And this info is going to follow the player. So if you go to Shane Wright, right here, it's going to say he was in the entry draft and he was picked 1 overall. His ISS ranking was 3, and he had a com ranking of 1 too. And he's also in my personal list. By the way, there's going to be a hide button here. I don't have it working yet, but if you want to take a screenshot of this and you don't want people to see how you're tracking these guys on your personal list, you can just hit hide, and it's going to kind of just filter that out. It's just hide the text. You're also going to get some of these like little pill things up here. So you got, again, your ISS, your ComScore, where he was drafted, and how many cups that player's won. So I know like Tampa Bay just won. So like Sam Bennett, I guess I'll have a cup. Yep, there it is. So let's go back to drafts. I don't think there's anything else here. Again, you can clone this list and make a personal list out of it if you want to. It saves you a lot of time rebuilding a list like this. I'm going to make a personal list really quick. We'll do, so in here, you got to give the list a name. So we'll say unsigned Columbus Blue Jackets prospects. I can't do it for Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh was removed from the game. And then we're going to call it prospects. Now, when you do a category, you kind of want to type it in here because it's going to organize everything alphabetically, and you'll see what happens when I do it. So we've got prospects already here, so this is just going to be injected into that grouping, and it's going to go after that because U is after O. So let's do start. Oh, and there's some associative data. When you add players, you can add additional information to that player as it pertains to that list. So for instance, this is mainly important for the draft. When you draft a player, you want to know the team that drafted him. And you also want to know, you may want to know the GM, but I never use it because it's just too tedious to do it. And I also have a grade system here. So if you want to like tier your players, you can change that. So, but we'll keep those out for the moment. And oh, sorry, I got the alphabetical part wrong. But let's see, unsigned prospects right here. There's nothing here. So we're going to go back to search. We're going to go to Columbus. Actually, we'll go to some guys that I know personally. So Lambert is my guy. Oh, that's in team. We got to do it in here. So we're going to add Brad Lambert to my unsigned Columbus prospects. And then, so he's been added. Let's add Shibrikoff or something. This guy. There we are. It's already selected. So let's add him. And then we'll do Chinikov. These are my top guys. Okay. Done. Go back here. And here they are. They're purple because we haven't really set their ranks yet. When they come in here, so let me actually just show you why this is important. We're going to set these guys ranks. They're all bluish green now. Interesting. Why is he not drafted? Oh, is this my guy? Oh, okay. So Chinikov was in the game before we had our first draft. He was picked right before. So guys that we didn't actually draft in Shaw, through the live draft process, are never going to have that solid line. I may change that behavior at some point. I just don't know. But at this point, they just show up as undrafted because we didn't draft them. But here's the thing. So if we're going to go back to search, and let's say Carter Shade is a guy I drafted. SCHADE, right? There he is. Okay, so we're going to add him to unsigned prospects. And let's say we just go and do something else. If we go back to our list, he's just going to show up down here as purple. And that just means at some point we added him to the list and we never really confirmed this is the position we want him at. It just drops him at the bottom of the list when you do that operation. And so let's say, yeah, but we want him like above Chinikov, like that. We'll do that and then set ranks, and now they're set. So just keep that in mind. When you see the purple, it just means the rankings either have changed in the list and you might want to set them. And if you go around, you do a bunch of changes. Let's get all these guys changed. And I go to a different view, then come back. It's going to reset it to the previous state unless you set it up here. So that's like a save feature. So you can also delete your list. I don't have an edit list. So one of the shortcomings at the moment is if you want to change any of the text in here, then you have to actually delete the list and recreate it. When you clone a list and you don't set the category, it's going to create this main thing and put it in there. I have to create a view so you can change that. Main is just the default category if you didn't set one. So, that's probably a change that's going to be incoming pretty soon. You're just going to have an edit list, and it'll be a modal. You can edit some, this criteria here. So apologies if that's a pain in the neck for anyone, but that'll come soon. And then logging in and out in the tool is pretty simple. You can log out. There is a profile page. It just shows your token information. That's really the only interesting thing. When you log in, your token lasts for like a year, a little over a year. So just realize you don't have to log in that often. But if you're logging in different browsers or on a mobile phone or something, it's you're gonna have to log in again. So keep your password handy. I'm pinning the username password to all the DMs I'm doing for everyone, so just keep that in mind. Also, the tool is mostly mobile friendly. So if we go to like this guy, I'm gonna put it in mobile and do mobile mode here, and it should look pretty good in most of these views. We'll go to like search. How do we get out? Come on. All right, maybe I got a bug I got to fix with that. I just started doing the mobile fixes. So, yeah, okay. I can't close the menu. That one I got to fix. So just keep that in mind. It'll be fully mobile supporting at some point, but not right now. I think that's about it. So if anyone has any other questions, you can always just hit me up. I'll try and keep everything up to date. If you let me know about bugs, I will try and fix them as quickly as possible. I've been pretty good about that so far, but with a lot more people using the tool now, it's gonna probably surface more issues. So just let me know, and I'll get on it. So that's it. Thanks for listening, and see you back at Shaw.